Rise and shine. Right here, you would always find us. We call it Enterprise Morning, and I'd love to believe you would call it the best thing that ever happened right here on the internet. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry. We'll be starting off today with our newspaper headlines and just to see through all that we have. And after that, in a jiffy would be our main conversation also for today. But please do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored to have with us, joining us from Saitama in Japan, John Akirili. He is a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good morning to our viewers all over the world.
Thank you so very much for your time. We truly do appreciate you. And right here with us in the studios, we have
my name is Innocent Adulugwa. I'm a journalist and a public affairs analyst. Introducing myself means I will soon get a salary from Enterprise.
That was very so intentional, actually. Innocent has been a friend of the studios right here, and we truly do appreciate him every time he makes the time to come. Thank you so very much, Innocent.
My pleasure.
And that was a wonderful introduction, though, if you ask me.
Oh, thank you.
All right, people, we'll be starting off today with newspapers, of course, and starting off with the Guardian newspaper for today. And the big story, National Automotive Policy in limbo, 136 billion naira investment stock. I'd love to start with you, John Akirili. And automotive industry, a very big one. Before now, we used to have complexes that we had in Kaduna. That was with Peugeot, and right after then, it's been a very difficult one actually for the automotive industry in Nigeria. As it stands today, we have just Innocent and Nod. I do not know if we have yet another one yet, but of course those two are still going through lots of difficulties. I'd love you to speak to me on that particular issue. That's coming from the Guardian newspaper for today.
Thank you very much. I think at this point in time, we have seen the attitude of our leaders so far. In a case where we never had Innocent and Nod before, we used to buy the likes of Toyota all the way from Japan. And their own economy is booming. They create jobs for their people. And they have loads of factories spread across the length and breadth of the world. That also increases their own GDP as a country. Now that we have Innocent, we have Nod. The question I'm asking the leadership as it stands today, in Nigeria, we have 36 state governors. How many of our 36 state governors are driving made in Nigeria vehicle as official car, either from Innocent or from Nod? We have 774 local governments, which means 774 local government chairmen have a car. How many of our local government chairmen are driving made in Nigeria car, either by Innocent or Nod? We have over 300 House of Rep members. How many of these 300 House of Rep members are driving made in Nigeria vehicle, Innocent or Nod? And we have senators, 109 of them are driving Innocent or Nod. Now look at it. Look at the numbers of the governors. I've not been talking about the ministers and the president, the senators, the House of Rep members, the governors and local government chairmen. Imagine if all of these people buy made in Nigerian vehicle. Do you know how much that would have been contributed into the GDP of Nigeria as a country? Do you know the number of unemployment that would have been, jobs that would have been created? Do you know the number of factories that would have been established all across the length and breadth of the country? Do you know how that will also impact the internal generation revenue of those areas where these factories are stated? And that's why we say to government that cares to listen, that if you say you are a proactive government, we want to see your workings. Let it start from the head. You can't tell us we should buy made in Nigeria. You can't tell us that the environment is conducive. And here you are buying Lexus. Is Lexus made in Nigeria? The answer is no. The only governor that I know that bought made in Nigeria vehicle is Alex Otti of Abia State that has Innocent vehicle as his official vehicle. That is 1 out of 36. Now, if you go to the ministers, you go to the commissioners, go to the councillors at local government level, all of them drive cars. Are these cars made in Nigeria? So it is now the onus of this administration to correct the wrongs, and that will start from Mr. President himself. And as said to us, Nigeria is not a difficult country to rule, but it's a country where we look by what our leaders are doing. If your president is wearing Philip, is wearing Gucci, you expect the governor to wear Babadiga? He can't. So the thing is, let the president show the embodiment in all of his convoy to your e-logs, to your boss. Let it be made in Nigeria. If they say that the president is driving, is all of his convoy, all his cars are not or innocent, made in Nigeria, I tell you, no governor who is standing on his mandate will dare go and import Prado Jeep from Japan. And I think that is a note of warning to everybody who really loves Nigeria, who want Nigeria to grow economically, who want to create employment for our youthful population, who want to also bring about skill and empowerment, and also make sure that our economy is bouncing back again. Those days you're talking about Peugeot, they have assembly plant. Now, how many assembly plant do we have in Nigeria? We don't. But these two that we have we seen the effort of the government in encouraging them? If you have said the environment is conducive, what about in patronage? Is it not other African countries that are buying some vehicles? And if truly we are the giant of Africa, we should be the highest buyer of made in Nigerian product, not only some vehicles.
It's very, very true. Innocent Aduluba, let's be very, factual with some of these things, especially coming from John. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had a shift of what was used to be, of course, it's still not made in Nigeria. The Mercedes-Benz Maybach S-Class used by Nigerian presidents from the Fourth Republic. Obasanjo used it, transferred it to Yar'Adua. Yar'Adua used it, transferred to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and of course it went to Muhammad Buhari. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came and switched to a Cadillac Escalade. And the funny thing is, these cars are made in the United States of America, used by the presidents and politicians there. Now, do you think it makes any perfect sense for the safety of the president that there's need for him to maybe ask Innocent to do something good for him? Or for the safety, let's just allow that rule for whatever he chooses to use?
Well, when that Mercedes is passed across, it demonstrates administrative prudence. A vehicle is not a handkerchief that two people cannot use, So when Obasanjo passes to Yar'Adua, it means no money is spent buying a new one. It tells us I would say if President Tinubu bought a new one, definitely from that level, if you hear the money, it will be a dizzying amount. And secondly, President Tinubu can be said to be innovative. There are lots of for and against when you want to discuss. So
when you say innovative, are you trying to say positive?
Innovation is to do something new.
Okay.
It now tells on what side of the divide you are. Notice that President Tinubu is a man that divides opinion. Lots of people hate to love him. Lots of people love to hate him. But all being told, I was involved in some vehicle dealership leading to COVID. And I got to know that Nigeria is the largest consumption of Toyota automobiles in Africa. Or the largest consumer, if I should put. Consume doesn't mean we eat it, if you get my point.
Yeah.
But in Africa, there are two manufacturing Toyota plants, Libya and South Africa. We who use it the most, our government or policymakers cannot condition Toyota to have an assembly plant.
That's if the infrastructure is here to
to
enable that.
It is
electricity and every other thing.
It is, irrespective of businesses exiting Nigeria. The gains of Toyota, I don't know, John will speak to that, warrants that they can withstand our. Nigeria is like a Toyota country. If you get my point, both new, brand new, both fairly used. The closest thing to a Toyota plant in Nigeria is the Elizade we have. But you see, barely 25 years ago, Nigeria was a place where automobile manufacturers worldwide were struggling to be. There was the Peugeot automobile, which was a major player in the assembly of Peugeot vehicles here in Nigeria. We had Leland. I think they took care of a lot of the military trucks and buses. There was the national trucks. There was Steyr, S-T-E-Y, are, you know. There were other local assemblers as well, AG, Leventis, Afri Ventures, Cost Charis, Dana, and the likes of the Stallion. Today, there is Nord, Innocent, GAC, I think I must say, and about 31 licensed auto companies. Nord, I see them each time I go to Unilag, including I was there lately. Yeah. You know, they are there doing great. But in all of this, I think your topic is the amount for this has disappeared. Or
yes, yeah, National Automotive Policy in limbo, about 136 billion investment in limbo.
136 billion investment, and as is Nigeria, that will so a new. I don't know if this word is allowed, John. A new news will soon come out, and we will forget this topic. After now, a new news, a scripted agenda from the government. As the year turned around, we had the Honorable Mudashiru Obasa versus Lagos Assembly. You know. Then we moved to Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Then we moved to the core member who made comments about Lagos environment. And
well, you can go on and on with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We are blessed, especially for us in the media. We are blessed with lots of information that we're even asking ourselves, which should we even, you know, move to it. So it's a recurring issue.
Yeah, so no, my landing comment is 1.6, you say?
Yes, 136 billion.
136 billion. It's simple. Who awarded the contract? To whom were the contracts awarded, or what, if it's an individual? What were the terms of reference? What is the span of this contract? Where is the location? What progress has been made? These are ordinary routine questions, and then we will know from the files what has transpired, where we are, and what is left. Communicating it as a media headline that it is in limbo is administrative poverty. That's where I will stop.
All right.
Somebody gave out this contract, and then we have it as a headline that it is in limbo. And limbo is a state of stagnancy, neither here nor there. In fact, almost something given up on. So that is ingenuity in display. That kind of headline should never come out. We should be sitting down, questioning or listening to the bodies or whoever gave out this contract to tell us the bidding process, who won the bid, what advance has been made, what were the terms, is it located somewhere, what progress is made, what is left. I don't think, John, that it's just we just hear that it's in limbo and then we talk grammar and go to sleep.
You know, very, very true. You know, the fact remains we do not know in detail the administration in charge actually that made this possible, but I'd love to believe it's not with this administration, it's with the past administration. But of course we are just having a preview of that particular information. But John, I'd love you to speak to other issues here. Over 26,000 children in prison, says the Minister of Interior. You know, one thing that we love to do in Nigeria is pinpoint the problems, but the solution is a very big thing. The Minister of Interior has what it takes to ensure that these children, of course, go through the right processes, and those that do not need to be in prison should be allowed out of the prison. But just calling out the problem, is that enough solution for us in Nigeria?
You see, Nigeria is a country where we have too many problems, and our leaders lack the act of being transparent in all of their dealings. I tell you, it's called public service. And so everything about it should be made public, including your expenditure, including your process of bidding, including how you get contracts, including who you give contract to, including those people who are currently the contract, how much has been released. In that case, where there is transparency, there will be proper monitoring. In the case of the children, the thing is, you know, when people like this are apprehended, there should be a list. What is their offenses? You know, what are their offenses? How are they arrested? What are they being charged for? How many of them have been convicted? What are the terms that they have to? See, when all of these things are in black and white and it is in the public domain, it serves as also a deterrent to other people who are having such intentions in their mind, because now they know the offense. They know that if you commit this offense, this is the gravity of the offense, and this is what will be meted out to you, right? In that case as well, we also look at how they are being taken care of in the correctional facilities. What we have in Nigeria is not a correctional facility; it's a dungeon where people are being hardened, and they come out, instead of them to be transformed. You know, you are seeing cases of people that have come out of prison, and another of them have been they've been rearrested again. Why? Because going in a place that also have been a correctional facility, you know, becomes a facility where they become hardened, and then that which the facility was created for, you know, has lost its efficacy. And I think at that point, and that's why review and constant review of our administration is very, very important. And that's why we criticize government. It's not because we hate the government. It's just because we want the best for the government and the best for our people. Now, for those children who have been, you know, found to have been not to be charged for anything, they can be released to their parents and be compensated, because also they've spent many time in detention. Now that takes us to other issue that you are not even talking about, and that's the issue of other people who are waiting trial. You are talking about the children. There are loads of people in hundreds of thousands who are waiting trial. And if you look at the cases, there are cases of maybe they steal Maggi, or they steal matches, or they steal one pack of Indomie. Now, I'm not condoning the act of stealing. But when these people watch the news and they hear that a governor, you know, embezzled 80 billion, and this same governor, you know, walks to the EFCC office with his babariga and he walks out, and then you are claiming legality, it shows that we have shown that we are a people where the law only works for the poor and not for the rich. And so these are some of the things that this administration must put on the right track. Let's not say it didn't start from the administration. We know government is a continuum. It does not start with you, it does not end with you. But the thing is, you have a file. That's why we have transition committee that will transition from the old government to the new government, where you get to ask questions and know all that has been going on, and then where you can pick it up. So don't tell me it's a continuum. And so I feel that when you ask for the job to be in government, now you're in government, you are now responsible. You are taking responsibility, either it's happened during your administration or not. And so for me, these are things that we need to look at, and that tells you that our judicial system also needs to be overhauled generally, because the number of people that are waiting trial, in fact, if you look at the list, it's not like what you have on your notes part there. And so I think at this point in time, it is a clear call to this administration that every fiber of the country called Nigeria needs total overhauling, and we all need to come together and look at those areas. Either you are for the president or against the president, but we should have one thing in mind, that Nigeria is our country, and if it must be great, all of us must come together to that table and look for a way to make it better for each and every one of us.
Very, very true. Innocent Adulu, but there used to be a time when juvenile centers, you know, were all over the place, were across Nigeria. So when children, below 18, commit whatever crime that they do, they are sent to juvenile homes where they are trained in different skills. They go to school for those that have no opportunity of going to school and so on. But today, juvenile centers are now turned to either estates for politicians, taking over. And those people who commit such crimes, kids who commit crimes, are sent to live with adults in prison. So speak to me. What is this more like a civil rule, or what kind of political system permits for such to happen? And why are those who are bestowed with the rights to condemn these things are not doing that, especially our legislators?
Well, what you call juvenile centers are majorly remand homes. Yeah. Where, you see, even me sitting here talking, I've done terrible things as a child, And if I was taken to this kind of place, I was very good with my academics. My secondary school then had, let me call it domestic scholarship systems, which I was like an annual beneficiary, but I go out with older ones. So someone's chickens raised by, we eat it. I'm speaking now on TV, or who enter bus, who will not have transport, who will pretend to be sleeping. So the conductor doesn't look our way. When he is not looking, we are close to our bus stop, maybe there is traffic, we'll jump down. And for him, let these ones go away, So those are bad things. But those were working with the age. Yeah. If you kill an ant with a sledgehammer, I mean, all of these remand juvenile places are just to reform. Out there, the other time, I was told about somebody who was caught abroad in a departmental store, a 14-year-old, and he told the police this is what he does like for a living. He stuffed himself with food and all of that. And they locked him up. So he asked them for a job. They gave him when his time was due. He asked to join the police. They gave him. So he was catching guys
who were behaving the same way.
Yes, and speaking to them, and then they passed through the same route he did and were joining that county police. They were using him as, like, what do I call it? A model, somebody who helps them, yes, reform. And he will tell you, I'm like this, so don't think I'm a saint. Imagine if that person at that teenage age went to an adult jail and something went the other way. Secondly, while this topic is on, we are in Nigeria without war, and there are millions of Nigerians in IDP camps, not prison now. Children are born there, some are in secondary school. I've not heard when the government plans to return them to their homes. And some of these people are products, raw material for crime, if you get my point. Sure. By the time you look around where you are, what's your hygiene, sanitation, toilet like, you want a better life, you are prone to stray, and you will be caught, sent to those kind of places, and you will be treated like the others who even came with better opportunities. Mind you, the society also has Nigerians looking up to politicians in their affluence. And so there is this urge in people to try to live well, live big, like one of the politicians. But when we hear, like you just mentioned now, when we hear, oh, a president has slashed his salary, oh, senators are living prudently, you know, that prudence, diligence, honesty, transparency would trickle down. I think it's bad to do the crime, but there are social conditions festered by the government.
But what do you have to speak about, you know, this current age and time when parents even allow for some of these things to happen with the scam now, fraud in different forms that are taking the shape of the internet thing, and it's making it look like it's legal from the sides of the parents. Parents encourage their children to go into fraud, and which leads the children to go into rituals because they feel that such diabolism would help them succeed in those trades. So how do we fix the entire system?
Okay, I don't even believe in children of nowadays. I don't believe in Gen Z. I believe that good has no time, season, or age, whether for an old person or a Gen Z. So the faults of children are the failings of the parents. Perhaps we cannot sweep everybody with one brush and say parents encourage their children. But by being passive, by seeing and not talking, that passivity is tacit support. Where a girl is 19, a fuel attendant whose salary is 25,000, holding a phone of over 400,000, 300,000.
Or 1 million.
Oh, you've gone to a million.
With the iPhone 16
yes,
now.
And
every little child wants to have one.
And in my time, my daddy can deal with you. When I say deal with you, you won't forget till you are an adult. For coming home with a pencil or biro that he didn't buy for you. Do you know? So that passivity, that parent, maybe there are the ones who encourage their children, but parents watch, say nothing. These children go out of your house, come in. Sometimes I walk late and come home like 11:45, 11:30. And on my street, I will see secondary school children. I'm talking of boys, girls between 14 to 20. On the street at 11:45, gisting, running, hugging in corners. And I'm asking, and you won't see parents. Some parents are already asleep. So A lot needs to be done.
Yes, very true. John, I'd love you to have a say on that just before we quickly move on to the next paper, where parents allow their children, maybe because of the striking nature of the economy. But I'd love you to compare what we feel here in Nigeria with what you see there in Japan. Do you think it is almost the same? Even if ours is prone to poverty, yours there might be prone to maybe over technology. I'd love you to do some comparison here if you can.
I think one thing that you can't take away from an average Japanese is the respect and how they carry their family name. Every Japanese family has got a family register. And this family register, you know, is a way, even when you get married, you still have so many families. So they trace you to your forefathers. And so you understand that the name you are carrying now is not only your name. There are many people that name is attached to. And so anything you do, you know, we rubbish the whole of that lineage. And so Japanese children are in that consciousness every day. And that's why they have, you know, they have this conservative kind of lifestyle. Coming back home, we also have the same thing. I remember when I was a young boy, you know, I went to a public primary school where our parents sell in the market, our father, our hustlers, even when they are not at home. We have communal parenting. We have people who are in the house. We have big sisters who will look after you, who will tell you to do assignments, who will flog you, who will get you your food. But in this day and time, you know, it is me and my family. And I think that is a syndrome that has established society to where we are now. Before now, there's issue of fraud, but it is not as big as it is now. I can say to you now, if you pick out of every 12 people, young people in Nigeria, about 4 of them will tell you that they are into pressing button, and what that means that they are online swindlers. Yes. And so that also, you know, is linked to a part where you have an adage that a father who cannot provide for his family is worse than an infidel. Even the Bible said it. And so how can you provide for your family, you know, with a minimum wage of 30,000 naira, a minimum wage of 70,000 naira a month, and you have 2-3 kids, you have a wife, you have house rent, you have water bill? It shows that the governments have, you know, intentionally created a system that will put people in abject poverty. And in that case, you know, not giving a conducive environment for them to thrive. In the place where I am now, light, even when there is earthquake, my brother, even when there is earthquake, light does not go off. And then I ask myself, we don't have earthquake, we don't have tornado, we don't have any natural disaster. And yet the little things that we should do for people, we can't do it. And yet we come on the international scale with our 100 million suits, with our Maybach and Ford Explorer and our Agbada, and show that we're the end of Africa. And then the people who you are representing are in abject poverty. So for me, it also shows the consecutive failure of government over the decades. And mind you, all of these leaders that I see today, they had the best education in Nigeria. I could remember vividly as a young boy that people were coming from the European countries, even from America, from the UK, to come study in Nigerian universities. But the reverse is the case now. And if you check it now, those students that are not brilliant in Nigeria, go and check them in Canada, check them in UK, check them in Europe, check in other countries of the world. They are doing exceedingly well. What is the difference? It shows that there's a different environment that gives opportunity, that creates opportunity, that talks about competence and capacity, that does not care if you're a maker or I'm John or it's Chinedu, that does not care if you're Asari or you're Tompolu. They just want to know that you are a human being, you have the potential, and you are given a level playing field where competence, capacity, and character is developed. And that's why they are doing very well the way they are. So for me, it's also a clarion call that the government have been failing the Nigerian people consecutively over the past decades. And now is the time for us to sit down and look at where we have a wrong turn, sit down and make corrections so that we can start building a generation that we can be proud of. Those are the days where you sing, Batamiadu Koko Kati Mbaka Wemi. Now, we have come to the generation where people are saying to you, Iwe Toka, school to Loki Lofida. You know? We are coming from a place where we appreciate education so much that everybody wants to be educated. Now people are telling you, even those ones that are educated with their 2 masters, look at their shoe, it's peeled off. They are still walking around the street of Lagos without no job. And that will tell you the era that the way we treat people. Those people who are first class products in our universities, best graduate student, 5.0 over 5.0, CGPA, 4.9 over 5.0, overall best graduate student. How many of them have you seen that receive 100 million naira as a check? or 10 million naira check or got a brand new car. But you see other people who go on national television, have sex on live TV and things that does not even make sense, or that is not even productive to the economy of the country, and you see them giving them checks. That will show to you how the government and the system have intentionally, celebrated mediocrity as to, something that is really good for us. And I think it's a clear call for all of us to sit back and look back and sit down. That where did we miss it? How did we miss it? And how can we start making corrections?
So very, very true. Good clarion call, and that is what it is. But let's just, before we leave, in 2 minutes, please, Innocent, I would love to sandwich two questions here. Your CGN raises concerns over unethical conduct of lawyers. Isn't that contradictory? Knowing that the judiciary right now, according to lots of Nigerians, is messed up. But the second question is, recall, INEC confirms petition notifies Natasha.
Well, for the judiciary one, it's a charade. It's a facade. Lately, we've seen some 5 states in the north keep children at home for 5 weeks throughout the Ramadan. There was no comment from the Ministry of Justice concerning children whose right to education has been trampled. I didn't hear from the Attorney General of the Federation. I didn't hear from any Commissioner of Justice in any state. I don't think there were media comments from any lawyer, even a voluntary lawyer, And to a large extent, we didn't hear from the President or the presidency. We didn't hear from the Northern Governors Forum, even their chairman or whoever. Neither did we hear from the National Governors Forum. So in all of the voices we heard were civil societies, Christian Association of Nigeria, and as you will know in Nigeria, those are willers.
Yeah.
So if the Attorney General or the CGA, that's the Chief Justice of Nigeria, is making a belated call. There are issues for which you are in office for, and that's government. And the primary purpose of government is the implementation of the People's Program. One of them I just cited to you. Again, there are deprived children in IDP camps. When last did you see any IDP camp as headlining or getting news mention? When last? So we were with a barrister yesterday who told you that even though it is his constituency, his faith in the judiciary is, he said that much. So, and how did we get here? There are things that beckon the judiciary to take opportunity and talk about that they go passive. And passivity is tacit support.
Very true.
Now for Natasha, I don't know what to say. Again, you have mentioned here that the National Assembly should be leading the formation of laws, policies, and all of that. But to the best of my knowledge, she is under suspension for 6 months, and there is a hearing in the Ethics Committee, the one that ended in a bedlam with Senator Onwebonyi and Dr. Obieze Kwesili. And to my knowledge, the 6 months is just beginning. So anything recall for me is an under the carpet thing. It's political propaganda.
Well, I just hope, because that was why I asked the first question on how contradictory it is for the CGN to say the lawyers or the judiciary should be ethical, knowing that judiciary itself, is neither here nor there. John, I'd love you to speak to this matter. Right now, we have a judiciary that does not speak like the judiciary. The judiciary we used to know during the military dictatorships were for the people. Right now, we do not even know where they are. Everybody is singing the same song. On your mandate, we shall stand. How do you think we can ever get it right? Especially getting their acts right and speaking truth to Natasha's ordeal.
For me, it's a sad day. It's a sad day. It's sad because democracy that some people fought for, right in our eyes, is crumbling. I would have expected that the judiciary is an independent arm. But with what is happening now, we have seen that the judiciary is not independent. And then I say to you, my brother, who appointed the CJN? It's not the president. And so, who will release the allocation for the Federal Ministry of Justice? It's not being approved at the first meeting. And so it means that when you are the beck and call of the executive, then there's no independency. And when there's no independency, it means that you can't do things on your own because you'll be frustrated. And I think the onus is on these people that they should understand that there's a personality and there is an institution. The judiciary is an institution. Before the CJN was born, there used to be a CJN. After the CJN is gone, there will be another CJN. The institution will remain, and that is what we must understand. The president will go, another president will come, but there will be presidency. The Senate president will go, another president will come, but the Senate will remain. And so we shouldn't use our lackadaisical attitude, to degrade an institution to a level that it becomes, a nonsense as it may be. So for me, that people should be mindful of positions and institutions. What we should do is that the judiciary should be seen as an arm of government that is independent, just like INEC, even though INEC is not even independent. And so these are things that people, the way people perceive you is really, really important. If the judiciary, if you go on the street now and sample people's opinion about the judiciary, you will see that 9 out of 10 will tell you that the judiciary is not judiciary anything. And so for me, it's also a wake-up call, a clarion call, that there have been mistakes made in time past. How can we correct these mistakes? How can we set a new tone for the Nigerian people? How can we start earning and gaining back the trust of Nigerians so that they can trust again in the judiciary? So many people, have had the judiciary, rape their trust over and over again. And that is the mistrust that we've had with the executive and our political elites. The same mistrust is coming to the judiciary now. And if at that point in time is a problem. In the case of Natasha Akpoti, the recall process, for me, I think is more political because there has been no agitation from our own constituents. And that for me, I would have said, if you have accused somebody, allegedly, I would have, in a normal society, a right-thinking society, what would have been done is the Senate president would have been asked to step aside. And then there would have been an independent, investigative team to, look at the case before it, which is the allegation of sexual assault. Because she said that is the basis of all these happenings that is happening to her. Now, that is a strong allegation. So I would have expected that there's an independent, panel to look into that. Now, why they are looking at that the Senate president should step aside, why the deputy Senate president can stand in the gap for the period of the time that this, the committees come up with their report. Either it's going to indict the Senate president or vindicate him. That would have been seen as a society where everybody's voice is heard. That would have been seen as fair hearing to both parties. That would have been seen that there's nobody who is shutting down the other person. Why? Because of the use of power. And so for me, they are both senators. Senator Akpabio is a senator. Senator Natasha is a senator. The only thing that distinguishes them is that out of one of you, you will choose a Senate president. The same way they voted for Senator Akpabio, or same way they voted for Senator Natasha. And so for me, the recall process of Senator Natasha is not even my problem. I know that's political, but the problem is what she alleged. If the allegation come with facts, she has come with a fact. Let there be an independent panel that will look into the allegation to prove either it is right or it is wrong. If it's right, let the law take its course. If it's wrong, let the law take it. I know if it's wrong, there will be a kind of punishment that will be given to Natasha Akpoti herself. And if Akpabio is found wanting, then he also has his own punishment too. So in this case, let the law be seen as blind, not to people. But in this Nigerian case, our own law, you get eye, they wear goggle, you see people. And that should be changed.
Very, very true. Lots of Nigerians have come out to call it a state capture, where we have the tripods now. The tripods of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president in charge of the executive, Senate President Godswill Akpabio in charge of the legislature, and allegedly, yes, Wike in charge of the judiciary. So these are the tripods that Nigerians have concluded that are really there to capture everyone and ensure that their will, not the will of the people, overrides every other thing. But of course, we hope and pray for Nigeria that we would come to see that Nigeria where the Constitution overrides every other individual, no matter whose ox is gone. So let's keep it for now and move on to our main conversation. That is when we return. We still have Innocent Ajuluba and John to take us on that particular matter. House of Representatives approved bill to expand Lagos local government councils to 57. That in a bit is still Enterprise Morning. Please don't go anywhere.